Alrighty. Okay, so it's Friday. And this is the building out show. The usual intro doesn't really work that well on this show. I'm building out. I'm glad you're building out. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. But I do appreciate every single one of you. Please do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. And let's talk a little bit about the pause menu. And the main menu. First of all, I should save that. And then we come over here to the pause menu, and then we come over here to the main menu. And you can see one of the things that kind of gets me about Godot and working in Godot is that a huge amount of stuff just like happens. Like, I just go in here and I go, hey, inside of this label, we have the text menu title. Well, menu title is the name of one of my translation keys. I need to pull that up. We'll turn off that screen and we'll pull up Excel. Now, Excel likes to make it hard to work with. Stuff, but I see a lot of people complain that whenever they work in Microsoft Office applications, it is constantly trying to save their shit to the cloud. That's in your settings, dude. It's in your settings. It's under Save. Autosave files stored in the cloud by default. Okay? You probably don't want that. Turn it off. Okay? Then you come down here, save the computer by default. Turn that on. Now, by default, when you first install Excel, those will be reversed. It'll try to autosave to the cloud because usually that's what you want. For the overwhelming majority of Microsoft Office users, you're using it at work. Nobody is using this shit at home. They're using it at work. They're using it on the corporate network, and they want all of their stuff saved on the network. So when their computer crashes or gets stolen or whatever, it's still on the network. And that's really what Microsoft Office is optimized for, because the overwhelming majority of people calling for help with Excel, which is what drives feature creation and modification at Microsoft, the overwhelming number of people calling for support are calling because they use it at work, and that's the only place they use it. They sure as hell don't use it at home. People like me who use Microsoft Excel for fun, we're few and far between. Although I suspect overrepresented within my audience. Anyway, once you get that set up, which is smart, do that anyway. I have here a translate.csv file. Now, I also have an Excel spreadsheet, and the Excel spreadsheet has this nice casual layout. It's fairly simple, but if I come back over here to file and I go, no, let's open the CSV file. When you open the CSV file, it asks you all of these questions. No, I don't want to analyze data. There's no data here to analyze. It won't store. Now, it won't store the size of the God. It's still like, it's imported everything as just one field. God This is so dumb. Accessibility unavailable. God. What a pain in the butt. Yeah, let's switch back over to the Excel spreadsheet. Notice that the Excel spreadsheet comes up and looks fine. But when you try to open the comma separated values, it goes, oh yeah, this thing. How do you close like just one file? How do you even see what files you have open? This is ridiculous. How are you supposed to work with multiple files in there? This is fucking ridiculous. No, don't save any changes to that file. Did it open multiple copies of Excel? I think it did. I think that's the new way they do this. But you see here, it goes, first you have to say it's delimited, and you have to go through this wizard, and you have to go, no, it's not delimited by tabs, it's delimited by commas. That's what CSV stands for, comma separated value. General, no, that's a text column. The general, they're both text. You have to set both of those. Then you can finish, and now everything looks okay. But you still have to set the width of the column, even after you go through that. Yeah, it's actually just two different. Nope, don't save. I didn't actually change anything. It's actually opened two separate instances of Excel. That's how you do it. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But what it comes down to is, if you want your file to be easy to work with, then you need to save an Excel spreadsheet so it can save useful information about the file. And when you save it as a CSV file, okay, when you save this as a CSV file, let's back up. We'll go file save as. Here on this PC, we're going to save it as a comma separated value file. And we're going to go ahead and save that as translate.csv. And we're going to say, okay. All right. So we've saved that. And now Godot will automatically import it. When we switch back over to Godot, okay, when I switch back over to my main screen, it's going to try to re-import the file. But it can't import the file. If I come over here to the assets, close up graphics, and I look under translations, if I re-import, it says it can't open the file. You know why? Because Excel has it open. Excel has the file open and locked, so you can't do anything with it. You have to close Excel, and then when you come back over to Godot, you can re-import the file. It won't try to re-import the file until you tell it manually. So this is just the pain in the arse of dealing with programs that are not designed for you to work with CSV files. Microsoft doesn't want you to work with CSV files. They want you to work with Excel spreadsheet files. So they're going to make it a pain in the arse to work with the files that you want to work with. This is what the tech industry calls enshittification, and I'm really upset about this. because back around 2010, I think it was 2007 actually, I was on the Microsoft Office team, and we had all kinds of wonderful discussions about what is the right thing to do for our users. And we tried really hard to do that right thing. And this was around the time that we started like actually pushing the ribbon interface on users instead of the menus. And that was a really hard thing to do, but sometimes you have a new idea that really is better than the old idea. And the old idea is still available. The old idea is still a thing that you could use, but you really shouldn't use it. You really ought to just like put the time in and learn the new thing because it's better. And the ribbon interface is better. Almost everything uses some variety of the ribbon interface now. So, that was a good idea. We made people stop using the menus and start using the ribbon, and that worked out well. But we had a lot of conversations on the team about, is it good and right and proper to tell your user, stop trying to do what you're used to, do what's better for you. We're telling you this is better for you. Are we making the user eat their vegetables, or are we just telling them do it our way or fuck off? That was a difficult question. It was a difficult thing for us to work with. And we had a lot of conversations about it. We had a lot of arguments about it. And nobody outside of Microsoft ever sees those. You know, nobody sees those arguments and the number of people within the company that are saying we should do it this way because that is better for the user. And the comparatively small number of people going, but wouldn't it be better for us as a company? Like, wouldn't we make more money if we don't fucking care about the money? The overwhelming majority of engineers at Microsoft do not give a single shit about money. You could especially tell that in the early 2000s because most of the people working at Microsoft could have gotten a job at Google or Facebook just as easily, and Google and Facebook were paying way more money than Microsoft was. But Microsoft was doing better work. So the question was, did you care about money or did you care about engineering? And I cared about engineering, so I worked at Microsoft. Worked at Amazon for a couple hours. That didn't go well. I was at Amazon. They brought me a cart with a PC on it, and they said, you get your PC hooked up and get logged onto the network and all of this sort of thing. And I got it set up and hooked up to the network. And I logged in, and I just kind of sat there staring at it. And my manager came in after a while and said, I saw that you were online, but you haven't, like, come to me and said I got the computer set up. And I just looked at him and said, I don't want to work here. So we went back to his office, and we had a conversation, and I think all told it was like 75 minutes. Like, I showed up, they handed me a computer, I set the computer up, I just sat there. The people that I saw as I was coming into the office didn't look like people I wanted to work with. And the conversations I heard in the hallway on my way into the office didn't sound like people I wanted to work with. I'm not saying anything bad about people who work at Amazon. I'm just saying that that's not me. Those people aren't like me. Not the way they were at Microsoft. The people at Microsoft aren't like me anymore either. Anyway, that is neither here nor there. But anyway, I have set up my translation spreadsheet. And now I've got to open Excel again so I could show you the stuff in the spreadsheet, because there's really no way to browse that information. I'm going to open the Excel spreadsheet. So it's the one that's open, and you can see over here, if I click over to that screen, you can see that I've got the menu title. I've got all of these little keys over here on the left side, and I've got all of the English translations over here. And Godot makes it so fucking simple to just it makes it so simple to come in and set this up that all I have to do is put the keys into the user interface elements. I just put them in as the text. And if I come in here and I go, okay, let's play this scene, here's the main menu, and there it is. All of the text is just automatically populated in. And if I created a new translation, which I'm not going to do because I don't speak any other languages, not well enough to translate anyway. I can't translate all of this stuff. I probably could if I tried. I could probably just like copy them out of some other game. But regardless, it just works. It's so easy that I just look at it and go, it can't be that fucking easy. No, it is. It really is that easy. Just like I come over here to the pause menu and I go, okay, let's run the pause menu. Well, let's not. To run the pause menu, paused, continue, restart, settings, quit. And everything's just like there. It's simple. It's so easy. And Godot makes so many things this easy that I sit there staring at them and go, it can't be that easy. It can't be that easy. It just can't. It's not allowed to be that easy. So I stare at a lot of stuff just like not wanting to do it because I'm like, I'm going to do it and it's not really going to be that easy. They're going to say it's that easy and then it won't be that easy. And then I'll do it and it'll be a pain in the arse. And I'll have to do a bunch of shit that I don't want to do because that's the only way to get anything done. Godot doesn't do that. Godot is designed well. It's built properly. And it's like everything is just like fairly simple. I go into the audio setup and it's just setting up my audio bus was trivial. And setting up my settings dialog is just going to be trivial. And all of this stuff is so easy that I'm very suspicious of it. I'm very suspicious of how, and incidentally, I have spoken before about having separate audio bus configuration for music, voice, and effects. And I had somebody point out, you might want to do a fourth audio bus for the user interface. And I thought, well, there's no good reason not to do that. But then I was playing the game Ball Pit. That's how you pronounce the X. If there's an X in the title of something like Hunter or Spy Family, you know, you pronounce the X. It's like a Peppa Pig snort. So I was playing Ball Pit, and when you go into the audio settings, there are individual volume sliders for like 30 different types of sound effects. That's a little overboard. I think that's a little bit more than anybody needs to do. But an interface slider, I think that makes sense. Anyway, I got those things put together. I did finally get these things put together, and I've got most of the placeholder graphics sussed out. I need to put some particle effects in here. There's some stuff. There's all of this stuff that I want to do in the game. And of course, because I'm going through and playing games at the same time, I'm looking at other games and I'm thinking about how other games do stuff. And in particular, over the course of the past few days, I have gone through a bunch of popular games: Balatro, Ball Pit, Buckshot Roulette, Clover Pit, Mega Bonk, and Slots and Daggers. All of which are in some sense roguelites. And I also got the new DLC for Halls of Torment. And then, like, kind of sort of unrelated, like definitely unrelated to my game, are what's it called? Tectronica, I think? Tectonica. Tectonica is a really cool game. I'm really enjoying it. It's very story-driven, but the environment is gorgeous. It reminds me a lot of Satisfactory, and I think it's supposed to. But that's a really cool game. The other one that I tried Worldbox. I had no idea what I was doing, and trying to figure out what I was doing wasn't fun. Like, I started up Worldbox, and I had all of these tools, and there was just way too much stuff, and it didn't, it didn't really give me a clear idea of what I was supposed to be doing. It just gave me all of these tools. And I didn't have anything that I wanted to be doing, so I'm just kind of staring at all these tools going, well, that's neat, I guess. And I just, like, I fucked around with it for like 20 minutes and went, this isn't fun. So I refunded it. And let's see. General impressions of the other games from that list. Slots and Daggers is a really cool kind of idea. I don't know how much I'll revisit it, because it's neat, it's cool, but it's not really compelling. I don't want to play it and play it and play it. Mega Bonk is one that that a lot of people pointed out. They said, you should think about making your horde survival game 3D. Well, I could think about that, I guess, and Mega Bonk is the current example of what a horde survival game looks like in 3D. I don't hate it, but oh my god, there's so much bullshit. There's a lot of stuff wrong with Mega Bonk, and virtually all of it is just, strictly speaking, the one and only thing at the root of what's wrong with Mega Bonk is it's a 3D horde survival game. All of the issues that it has are issues that would naturally fall out of trying to make a 3D horde survival game. And you knew it was going to have them. I mean, you knew when you looked at it and you said it's a 3D horde survival game, and you went, well, how did they handle this problem, and how did they handle that problem, and how do they deal with this, and how do they deal with that? They don't. They just don't. It's there's no handling of any of that whatsoever. So, like, all of the problems that you think a 3D horde survival game would have, it has them. And they're not as big as you'd think they are. That's the other thing that comes out of this. That's something that you should think of when you're designing games, is you go, oh, we can't have this problem because it would make the game unplayable. It doesn't. it doesn't make the game unplayable. It makes the game frustrating. It makes the game infuriating in some cases. But it doesn't make the game unplayable. You can adjust. You can adapt. That's a thing you can do. It is surprising how much bullshit I will put up with in Megabonk that I wouldn't put up with in a 2D game. And I just go, that's a natural consequence of 3D. Because it is. And there are... every problem that Megabonk has can be boiled down to one of two things. And one of them is that that the natural consequence of being in 3D means you have this problem and there's nothing you can do about it. And the other one is the solution to this problem is really, really hard. And if you know anything about game design and development and that sort of thing, you go, I understand why they haven't solved it. Because nobody's solved it. There's no solution to this problem. We don't have a best common practice because nobody's doing this. And there's a reason. Now, but yeah, Megabonk has problems, but I think they're surmountable problems. I think it's way more interesting to a game designer than it is to somebody else. Buckshot Roulette is garbage. Well, let me put that a slightly less combative way. Buckshot Roulette is a game that you watch instead of playing. It's just not that fun or interesting to play. The fun and interesting part, scare quotes, is the storyline and the graphics and the atmosphere. And I don't find the storyline very compelling. I don't find the atmosphere very interesting. Hey, the guy who developed this, he has a style. There's a way that he does things, and he's done them that way in this game, and it looks very much like his kind of thing that he does in his games. I don't care. Okay, this is your visual style. All right, great. And yeah, it does lend itself fairly well to a quote-unquote psychological horror game. But I don't care about this particular storyline. And then you have Clover Pit. Clover Pit is a slot machine. It is worth noting, I love slot machines. I love them. I love them so much. I really, really do. Always have, since I was a kid. I love slot machines so much that I have a personal rule. I am not allowed to play any slot machine that takes real money. I'd spend it all. I'd spend all my money playing the fucking slot machine. It's the same way with video poker. I'm very susceptible to those things. So, obviously, Clover Pit, Balatro. I can't believe it's not gambling was the name of the bundle, if I remember correctly. And actually, I got Clover Pit in a different. Yeah, I got I min-maxed my choice of bundles, and and I got Clover Pit along with Slots and Daggers, because Slots and Daggers is another slot machine. It's not really a slot machine. It's like the worst slot machine I've ever seen. It's a turn-based JRPG with slot machine mechanics. But they're bad slot machine mechanics. It's not a bad game, but more daggers and less slots. You know what I mean? You may notice that I've been kind of circling around Ball Pit. And that's because Ball Pit is quite possibly the best new game I've bought since... God, I don't even know. Let me take a look and just kind of get some idea. Let me jump into Steam. We'll go games and software. Don't group by collection. Scroll up to the top. All. Oh, incidentally, it is worth noting, if you are a Grand Theft Auto Online player, they're giving out the Casino Penthouse for free this week. So just go log in and buy one. I swear to God. You gotta do it. You really do. What's the last game I really, really enjoyed? Yeah, there's an interesting point. Early last month, I played Mouthwashing. Mouthwashing is an interactive movie in much the same way that I feel like Buckshot Roulette is trying to be. But Mouthwashing pulled me into it and made me give a shit what was going on. And Buckshot Roulette really doesn't make me care about it at all. Scrolling down, Tower Wizard was fun, but not as fun as Ball Pit. What's the last new game that I found this interesting? Man, it has been a while. You know, I've had it for a good long while, but I think the winner on this is Rogue Genesia. Rogue Genesia was like a really powerfully interesting game. Well, wait a minute, that's a long time ago, though. Huh. Can we sort by date purchased? Date added to library, that works. Okay. Date added to library, so... If I scroll down my date added to library and go, what's as good as Ball Pit? I still haven't played Silk Song. One of these days I'll get to it. You know, it's not even remotely the same kind of game, but I think the answer is Me-Side. Me-Side was really good, and it sucked me in, and it made me really care about the game and really want to play the game and want to play a lot of the game. I got really bound up in it, and Ball Pit has done pretty much the same thing. It's just sucked me into it. And people say it's horde survival, and it really isn't. They compare it to Vampire Survivors meets pinball, and that's really not what it is. It's much more Space Invaders meets Breakout. And I actually find that a more interesting concept in terms of mechanics. But I think a lot of people would hear that and go, oh, those games are old. Yeah, they're classics. The mechanics are like the greatest things ever made. Very simple, very basic. And I really like simple and basic. I really like the deliberate pursuit of simple and basic. Anyway, I've been enjoying the hell out of Ball Pit, and not so much the other stuff. Balatro in particular, I think Balatro does an excellent job of being what it is. Balatro makes you feel like you're sitting in a casino and you're playing cards. And it's got that sense to it. It's got that feel to it. And I enjoy being in a casino, and I enjoy playing cards. So you would think Balatro would appeal to me a great deal, but it's okay. It's very well designed in terms of being addictive and being something that you can play and play and play, and just time gets sucked into it forever. I don't like that in a game. I don't like the idea that the game is going to suck huge amounts of time out of your life unless it's going to deliver something. And I don't think Balatro delivers anything. And a lot of that is me. A lot of that is me going, this is all luck. There are 150 different jokers. And a lot of people, they look at that and they go, oh, that's great. I love that in a game. I love how you don't know what's going to happen, how you cannot predict how it's going to come out. Now, I like to get good at things. I like to get good at games to the point that I do know what's going to happen. That's what I like. That's a me thing. I think there's a kind of fundamental disconnect between parts of humanity where there are some people that really love to be surprised, and there are some people that really love to not. We all like being surprised. Oh, it's a new thing. We've never encountered this thing before. But we also all like to go, I knew it. I knew that was going to be the thing. And some of us really preferred I knew it to being surprised. Sorry, had to sneeze there. Hold on a moment. There we go. All right. So, anyway, kind of the thing I was getting at with Ball Pit is there's a surprising element to it where in between levels, the production values on this game, first of all, are off the fucking charts. It's a way better game than I expected it to be in terms of presentation and cutscenes and animations, and just overall, the whole thing is much better than I thought it was going to be. It's much better than my game is probably going to end up looking. But in between trips into the dungeon, which they never really explain, in between trips to the dungeon, there's a base building thing. Like, you build houses and collect resources and... Really? It's kind of weird. I mean, it's not bad. It's just... In this game? I guess. Anyway, that got me to thinking about the level selection process. The level selection process in Ball Pit is just, you know, it's a vertical menu. You just kind of scroll down and you pick the level that you want. But the upgrade process is that you build buildings and collect resources. That's fucking weird. Like, you have to learn what buildings provide what bonuses and how to upgrade them, and you have to produce the resources and collect the resources. And you've got wheat, rock, and stone. Wheat, rock, and wood. Sorry, rock and stone, same thing. And it's just one of those things where you look at it and you go, why? Why is that how you upgrade in this game? I don't know. But it has got me thinking. How should upgrades work in a game like this? How should they work in my game? How should the level and character select work? And the weapon select, for that matter. Or do you select a weapon? Do you just select a character and then a level? How do those fit together? Does each character have a signature weapon and that's it? Or does each character have a selection of weapons? That's an interesting question. I don't have an answer to it. But yeah, it's got me thinking in terms of what should the upgrade process look like. But more importantly, I'm looking at how you set up menus in Godot and how you get them to work and how you get them to do things. And it looks too easy, so I'm suspicious of it. Also, there's a question of architecture. Because I think you need to select your character first, and then you select your weapon, and your weapon goes onto your character. When you select the weapon, it gets handed to your character. And when you select the level, then your player gets handed to the level. I'm not sure whether weapon selection works, but I'm going to build with the assumption that I'm going to do weapon selection. If I don't do weapon selection, then I'll just like quietly select it behind the scenes, like hand wave it. There was a thing I was looking at earlier. I think it is in fact Megabonk that has. You need to unlock additional slots for active and passive weapons, and it only has 4 slots per. So you start out with 2, and then you have to add additional slots. Or do you start out with 1 and have to add additional slots? I don't remember. But I was thinking about doing something like that. I was thinking about having like a 5-step. You know, you start out, you can have 1 weapon, and then just as you upgrade, you can add more. But I wasn't sure whether the game would still be fun with only 1 weapon. I mean, it is. Currently, you have 1 weapon, that's all you can have, and it works just fine. But yeah, the thing that I'm doing with Godot right now is I'm looking at how to implement the stuff that I'm trying to implement. And it looks too easy. So I'm nervous about it, and I don't want to do it because I'm like, I'm going to find out it's not that easy. But, you know, jumping into the menus and doing stuff, it really was that easy. It's why I started using Godot in the first place, because I said, well, the way this ought to work is like this. And then I looked it up, and it's like, that's how it works. All right, cool. You know, Juan and Ariel have really done a good job on this. But, yeah, that's kind of where stuff's stuck right now, is with me going, it can't be this easy. And I'm not trying it because it can't be that easy. There are going to be problems, and I don't want to fix the problems, so I don't want to do the thing. That's a real thing that really happens. Anyway, that's a fairly clear representation of where things are and where things are headed and what I've been doing. So yeah, you know, once again, do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit, and okay, bye.